The word motorcycle actually has two parts, motor and cycle. And if you aren't building your own engine, you're only solving half of the equation, because a motorcycle is really two wheels bolted to an engine. To have a viable brand, you have to build your own engine. There are no shortcuts. It also happens invariably that trying to modify somebody else's engine into your chassis always leads to compromises. It's actually less expensive to design the whole thing from scratch so that you can have a complete package. One of the problems is getting your engine low in the chassis. To be able to lower the engine in the chassis, the swing arm up angle still needs to be at about 12 degrees. So that means you got to design your own transmission to go with it. To make a motorcycle chassis perform correctly, you have to get all of the geometry just right, which means designing your own engine and your own transmission. You can waste a lot of time and money adapting things to try and get them to work. The real solution is just to start over and design from first principles. If you overcome the fear of it, what you'll discover is that it's actually not as difficult as you might think. Heck, they were doing it 100 years ago, and all they had was fire and dirt. They didn't even have reliable electricity, much less the amazing software that we have access to today. Those motorcycles that were designed with fire and dirt are still out running around today, 100 years later. As for why an American four-cylinder, well, in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of American motorcycle companies come and go, and they all had one thing in common. They were building the wrong bike. How much money did the Hanlon brothers burn through making the Excelsior Henderson? Henderson's name was on the gas tank. And what did they build? They built a lumpy, horrible-looking fake Harley. And the market responded accordingly. They went directly out of business. How about Victory motorcycles? Another J.C. Penney-looking thing. What an absolute disgrace. It was a cynical, pointless thing designed just to take a little bit of market share from Harley-Davidson. Do you remember the Victory commercial where they had this kind of chump-looking guy walk into a biker bar wearing a Victory jacket? He saddles up to the bar, and they're all the real guys, the real Harley guys sitting at the bar, growling at him. But then they looked on the back of his jacket and saw Victory and then allowed him to sit there and have a beer. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about what Polaris Industries did with Victory, I don't know what else does. It's shameful. Eric Buell built an American sport bike with a Harley engine. And to be fair, those bikes are really more than the sum of their parts, but it's the wrong bike. Michael Sis, a wonderful character and somebody who I really enjoyed being in the presence of. But he was focused entirely on MotoGP racing. He was chasing a rabbit that was never going to get caught. Motus, what a great engine. But at the end of the day, they got clobbered by everybody because they were going up against Honda, Kawasaki, Ducati, BMW. They built the wrong bike. If you love classic American motorcycles and understand the history of those bikes, you'll know that there's a hierarchy. Singles for basic transportation and lightweight competition. V-twins is sort of the general purpose bike for competition and for touring. And at the pinnacle of that pyramid is the American four-cylinder, designed for luxury, grace, and poise at speed. From a pure business perspective, it makes sense. You find the niche that no one has filled, either because they don't understand the history or they're just not brave enough to pursue building an American four-cylinder. Am I crazy for seeing this giant gaping hole? Does nobody else see this? I don't think so. It seems to me that manufacturers of American motorcycles don't really understand that they aren't just competing with other manufacturers, they're competing with the used market. In our case, with the Magnolia 4, the used market actually supports our case. The valuation and rarity of American four-cylinder motorcycles gives them a tremendous value. So the value proposition for building a new one all of a sudden makes a lot of sense. Vintage American motorcycles are rare and cherished, and all of the people who really understand how to rebuild them are slowly dying out. I think that maybe the most important aspect of our engine is the way it looks. There's just something about a four-cylinder repetition of pattern, shape, and form that triggers some deep genetic knowledge embedded in my mind. And what about proportion? Where have all the beautiful motorcycles gone? I think it's time for us to start making beautiful things again.